Hello, my name is Grace Hegerfeld. I decided to research the importance of communication between a graphic designer and their client. I will be discussing the benefits of effective communication with clients as well as the pitfalls of poor communication. I decided to research this topic because I plan to major in graphic design in college. Eventually, I would like to be self-employed, and I realized that I would need to have very effective communication skills in order to deal with my clients and grow my business. I will be sharing my research findings with you to help you understand why communication with clients is important and how to be an effective communicator who can discuss design ideas with people of different knowledge levels. Graphic design involves a lot of creative thought and discussion about projects. It also involves a lot of problem solving that requires excellent communication while being sensitive to clients' feelings. Graphic design involves a lot of creative thought processes and discussions with clients about their projects. According to Stephen Snell, who wrote Designers and Communication Skills, many graphic designers tend to be introverts who have to really work on their communication skills in order to be effective with client interactions. A designer needs to be able to question a client in such a way that the designer can learn about the client's wants and needs. Graphic designers are often dealing with people who have little or no design experience themselves. They may not have the necessary vocabulary to explain exactly what they envision, so it's up to the designer to figure it out through questions and careful listening. For example, a client may say they want an elegant invitation with a ruffle edge and fancy printing. It would be up to the designer to figure out that what they are picturing is a bifold cream parchment lettuce edged invitation with born ready font and cranberry colored ink. A designer also needs to be able to explain abstract ideas to clients so they can understand what the designer is suggesting. Once the project is identified and some basic ideas are discussed, the next communication hurdle with a client will be problem solving. Graphic design involves a lot of problem solving that requires excellent communication. The designer needs to be able to understand what a client is requesting and be able to verbalize what issues they might encounter. The graphic designer may know that cranberry ink does not show up well on cream parchment paper, and she will need to explain this to her client in a way that is sensitive to her feelings. The designer will need to suggest possible solutions to the issue, either by suggesting different paper if the client believes the cranberry ink is extremely important, or by suggesting different ink if the client is set on using cream parchment paper. The designer needs to be able to explain potential solutions in a way that the client understands while maintaining the vision that the client has. There is a balance between a client's imagination and the reality of functional design, and it is up to the graphic designer to find that balance. Another communication issue can be sensitivity to clients' feelings. A designer needs to be able to politely explain in layman's terms why a client's ideas might not be effective. If a color of ink will not be easy to read, the client needs to know that. As Brian Armstrong, author of How to Communicate Design Decisions to Clients, says, pretty doesn't mean effective. If the background on a poster is too busy to be easy to read, the client will not be happy with the end product, and the designer needs to let the client know that before the project is completed, or the poster will not be effective. The designer's job is to make sure that the end product meets the client's wants and needs, even if the client's wants is not possible. In the event that a client is asking for something that the designer knows will not be aesthetically pleasing or will have some other issue, the designer needs to be comfortable with pointing that out to the client in a way that the client will not be offended. Creative projects can involve a lot of emotion, and the client may have a hard time letting go of their vision. Sensitivity is necessary. A designer needs to be able to expand on a client's good idea and move the conversation forward in a productive way so that the project can move along. This research project has taught me that while I was focusing on the creative aspect of a graphic design career, there's a lot more to it than just the art. Communication is paramount to successful client interactions. Without excellent communication skills, I will not be able to effectively discuss projects and ideas with clients. This information will be very helpful to me when I'm working with clients. Knowing how important it is to be sensitive to clients' feelings will help me when I am developing my own client base and growing my future business.